you have for Q&A.
Okay, so let's start. Yeah, because in England, yeah. Good morning, our presenters and participants. Welcome to the Virtual VT Show International Convention 2021. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to thank you so much for your participation and contribution to our annual convention success. We are Chen Thao and New Mai as a presentation moderators. We are delighted to see all of you in light of virtual present today, especially in this parallel live oral presentation. And we do hope that all of you will be able to have some valuable knowledge and experience as takeaway following the talk. Okay, so before the presentation, there are a few considerations. In case you have any questions or concerns about the presentation, please feel free to leave them in the chat box so that we can gather the question for easy response in the 5 and 10 minutes Q&A section. Okay, so please welcome Ms. Dr. Lê Thị Hồng Duyen and Ms. PHAM BICH in this 30 minutes parallel live oral presentation which entitled Online Application for Enhancing Collaborative Learning in English Classes. About our presenter, Dr. Lê Thị Hồng Duyen is a lecturer of English at the Faculty of English Language Teacher Education, University of Language and International Studies, Vietnam National University. Besides teaching English for specific purposes, in the role of a trainer and a facilitator, she also actively joins in innovation training activity for educator and student within and outside English VNU. And her research interests includes ESP teaching, teacher cognition, teacher training, and innovative education. And Ms. Phạm Bích Ngọc is a lecturer of English at Haiphong University of Medicine and Pharmacy. Her research interests include English for specific purposes and medical English. And please welcome Dr. Lê Thị Hồng Duyen and Ms. Phạm Bích Ngọc.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mrs. Chen Thao and Ms. Mai for your great support. So we are very delighted to be here to present our some of our practice with online application in order to enhance collaborative learning in English classes in the two different contexts at my university and in my co-presenter university in Haiphong, University of Medicine and Pharmacy. And before we start our presentation, we would like to ask you all this question. Among the listed collaboration tools, how many tools have you ever used in your English classes? Now, please type in the chat box. Number 1, if you use 1. Number 2, if you use 2 tools, and 3 and 4. Okay, so just number 1, 2, 3. Okay, I could see 1 and 2. Okay, a lot of 1. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, 3. Okay, Minh Chang Lei. It's very interesting. Yeah. Thomas, you say 2, okay. How about the others? Okay, 1. Okay, yes, that's perfect. Okay, so thank you very much. Okay, I could see now a lot of 1, 0. Okay, yeah, it's interesting to know different answers from you. Okay, yeah. Okay, so thank you very much because of the limited time. So yeah, thank you for your cooperation in the first warm-up activity. And actually we can see most of the answer in the chat box is number 1. So I guess most of you may be familiar with Padlet. And I'm very surprised with the answer of 3 and even 0. Okay, so it's very interesting. So we hope that our presentation today will be a place for us to share with each other some of the collaboration tools that we can use in English classes, and we will demonstrate just some of the tools here to that we use in our context, but we also want to learn more about from you. Okay, so in this presentation, we will start with some theories about collaborative learning, and then we will introduce you the collaboration tools that we mentioned before, with some demonstration and some practice that we use, that we apply in our context. And finally, we will come into conclusion with some recommendations for lecturer when using such collaboration tools in English classes. Okay, so first of all, we would like to, I would like to introduce Mrs. Ngọc, will present next about collaborative learning. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Duyen. Can you hear my voice nice?
Yes.
Thank you so much, and hi everyone. Now it's my honor to share some information about the collaborative learning. The collaborative learning, you know that it can be defined as the learning process in which the students work together to analyze the question or create the shared meaning. And from some authors, we can find the meaning of the cooperative or collaborative learning. It can support the student in some institute or higher education, or especially in some English classes, with the numerous benefits, because they shouldn't just be taught the fact or concept as content, but more importantly, the skills of the acquiring, the internalizing, and the applying or creating the new knowledge. And also from the theoretical framework for the cooperative learning, you can see very clearly the structure here from the social interdependent perspective, or from the cognitive development perspective, or the behavioral social perspective. So all of these kinds of the elements for the cooperative learning or collaborative learning, we can see from the promotive interactions and increase the motivation can be combined in order to enhance the student in the individual learning or in the productivity. This is a process characterized by the numbers of features from the source, and you can see the components of the collaborative learning, and we also based on the components in order to give the online application for the student. Firstly, it can help the teachers and the student to establish the positive interdependence in English class. Secondly, we can be very emotional or motivated in the teaching the cooperative and social skills for the student. And then the student can be also developed with the accountability individually. They can be also involved in some activity in class with the group process information. And finally, the student can be assigned in order to take part in some kinds of group or team with the mixed ability. And nowadays, there is a significant number of tools and online application. And now it's my pleasure to continue with the online tool for collaborative learning from Duyen presentation. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ngọc. As we mentioned at the beginning, that for our presentation today, we will focus on four main tools that we would like to introduce to all of you, and also we discuss about how to apply it in order to enhance students' collaborative learning. And first of all, I would like to talk a little bit about Padlet. Maybe because as we can see from our initial survey that most of you are familiar with Padlet, so I won't talk about how to use it. Just I want to to mention that Padlet is very useful for the teachers nowadays because it can help you to add anything, for example, pictures, videos, links, or you can also create some different activities like predictions, writing prompts, or questions. So it is a kind of blank world for student ideas, and on that platform, student can interact and the teacher can help them to create opportunities for them to interact with each other. And when asked about why do you love Padlet, a lot of people agree that it is because Padlet is very personal. It is also adaptable, and it can also apply for differentiated learning. It's a kind of individualized learning, and it can help you to link with other resources, and it is very easy to use and it's timeless. So here are just some of the features that are very helpful for the teachers, and that's the reason why most and a lot of teachers nowadays use and prefer Padlet to use them in the classroom. But for our presentation today, focusing on collaborative learning, we want to discuss about how can we use Padlet to enhance collaborative learning. And here I just listed some of the ideas that I have applied in my classroom. It is class album or gallery student portfolio. For example, at the beginning of the course, I can ask the student to create an album, a gallery, class gallery, and then they can put their profile on it. And then I also encourage the student make their own portfolio. So the whole class can discover maybe interesting things about their partners, maybe their peers. Okay, and I think that most of the teacher often use Padlet to gather student work, and from the student post, the other student can also give some feedback and then comments, and then they can encourage each other, etc. And live question banks is also an activity that I can also apply for my class, and I will show you later some picture, but I just want to move one by one and give the brief description about each activity. The live question banks here, I asked the student, maybe they can post the question individually, or in order to encourage them to collaborate with each other. Normally before the lesson, I put them in the breakout rooms, and then I ask the student to read or to study the content at home, and then each of them need to prepare 1 or 2 questions, and then they discuss within the breakout rooms first, and then they give the question in group, the question that they haven't do in their breakout room, and then they will put it in the Padlet, and everybody can see it. Okay, I will show you later some of the picture to illustrate the point. Exit ticket is also one of interesting activity that the teacher can apply in English classes. For example, you can post the question in 3 columns, like what did you learn today, and what do you want to explore further, and what is the most interesting thing, or what is your question, something like that. Just some very simple question you can put on it, and the student can also put their question, and they can get the answer from their peers or also from the teachers. Okay, and thinking maps, it can be also used in with Padlet. When you want the student to discuss one specific topics, you can also ask them to use a thinking map format in the Padlet. And of course, giving feedback. This is also very interesting feature of Padlet. You can give the rule like tops and tips, or 2-star and a wish. The tops here, that mean when the student put their work on Padlet, and then their peers can also put some feedback, some tops, that means some of the things that the fans can do, and the tips here, that the thing that they think the group or their friend could improve, something like that. And Padlet can also be used for class resources. When you ask a student to gather the resources for particular topic, it is also a place for them to share. And in order to encourage them to work in groups, you can also assign the task for the group, and then they can contribute they can contribute to the platform, the class resources, I mean. And here are some, this is a template that you can also download from the gallery in the Padlet. You can encourage your student to create a kind of short bio, and then you can interact with your student, and your student can also interact with each other. And or you can also sometimes give them the opportunity to have some team challenge, and then they can post their video and that show their teamwork spirit, and they can also give feedback to each other. And here are some of the student work they can put on this one. Okay, and for example, the live question bank that I mentioned before, that I put the module, each module in one column, and student work in group, and then if they have any question that they cannot answer within that group, and then they will post it here, and then I am the person who will have them to clarify the point that they are unclear about. Yeah, and let's move to the next tool. It is Go Softbox. Maybe it is not a familiar one as Padlet. However, I would like to go very quickly about what it's about and some of the typical features of Go Softbox. Okay, so Go Softbox is actually a digital space where you can interact with your students, and we can call each space an event. And events can be created very easily and from your account dashboard like this one. And this is a plain event look like. And you can see that we can have different kinds of events like polls, discussion, or social Q&A. And each event has a moderation panel where the teacher could configure features and download data, and just follow the instruction, very easy to you. And the student, then they can log in and join the event using the event access code like many other application offer. And by default, the student are prompted to enter their name, and it's a very interesting feature of Go Softbox that only you can see student names, and they won't see the names of other students, so they can collaborate it in a very relaxing manner. And okay, so Go Softbox also have some useful features, of course, depending on the free version or the maybe page one. However, it is good news that it is free for the class size under 30 students. So normally for language English classes, the number of students are not so big. So you can also make use of some the free version actually. And you can also enable or disable some feature that you may not use. And I also like the confusion barometer here, that you can also included in your during your lesson to see whether the student gets the point, get the content or not. And they just click on it like very quickly, and you can see whether you could explain, you should explain more for the student or not. And you can also get the feedback in real time in order to check whether how many students are online and how many students are still confused about the point, and give them more explanation. And it is also a space, an event for you to create for the student. It is about social Q&A, so the student can ask a lot of questions, and within the limited time, you may choose the most wanted question, the most important one, and then you may note down and then spare your limited time for that important question and note down the one, and then maybe answer them later. Okay, and this is also a tool that you can also get the simple feedback with polling. Yeah, you can use some student can respond to polls and see the result directly in their browser. And yeah, and this is also a convenient feature for this app, this tool. Okay, and you can also open a kind of feedback with discussions. Yeah, okay, so you can ask the student, and then they can also have some opportunity to give some response in very short, and maybe it's a short, it can be long, but you can easily identify who said what, and it can create a very collaborative learning environment within your classroom. Okay, so it is also an app to use when you want to use some quiz that maybe you need to upgrade your account. So anyway, with the one that I just showed you before, that you can also just take advantage of some free feature of Go Softbox. Okay, so it's time to move to the next one. I'm so sorry that this should be a tech fair session. However, we need to put it in the presentation, so we may go a little bit quickly. So hopefully we can get the Q&A, yeah, have answer your question at the Q&A session. Okay, please, Ms. Ngọc, could you please continue?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Duyen. And now it's my honor to continue our presentation for the online application. The next is the Padlet. I think that it is familiar with many other lecturers in our language teaching, and it is an easy and funny way to collaborate by using the mind mapping. This allows the students to use the board and make sense of their idea by using the words, the pictures, the video, or some kinds of drawings. And I think that it is a good source to promote the collaboration in the classroom because it can be used instead of the book report and PowerPoint, or easy for the student and the teachers. And so you can go into the website, the link padlet.com, and you can log into using the account information provided in class and create your own account. So after creating an account, the link you will be in with the blank screen, and just double click to make your first bubble. And your name will appear on the top of the bubble, so the other can identify you if you are working in a collaborating setting. And you can begin to enter the text in your bubble, or you can change the color stream of the bubble by clicking on the first minor bubble. You can clicking on the pen, or you can draw on your own in the images, or you can also have the option to change the colors. So for the next, you can find out your friend's name, because the student can add your name, and in each case, for example, from my case, my student, they find out friend's name from the K here. And for the topic internal organ, we can see there are many other students who choose the different topics they want to share. For example, the brain, the lungs, the kidney, or the liver, the heart, or the stomach. Finally, I will have the result from the student collaboration task. For example, in this case, they combine in order to give the human body, especially in the topic internal organ. And yes, it is also the knowledge web visual for the content vocabulary. So it can help my student to learn better in the vocabulary lesson. And for the feedback of the student, I get a lot of fun or funny way, because my students say that they can comment on their creation, they can build their own knowledge together. Some students say that these kinds of application include more types of media such as the Google Maps, the images from the Facebook, or some kinds of the YouTube video they can get from in order to make the pictures. And also,
sorry, because we
useful.
have just only 5 minutes for the Q&A section, so please quickly to finish your presentation.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And for the last application, that is the MyMaster. It is a kind of collaborative web-based tool that can help the student to organize and brainstorm idea. You can click on the link mymaster.com. So you can sign up at the very bottom of the page. You can create an account, or in this case, in my ESP lesson for the student with the topic human collaboratory system, my student can find the first MyMaster in order to view a topic. So they can give their note in the circular way, so they can make the topic with the human circulatory system from their work in the MyMaster. I think that it is very useful for me, because based on the text-based application, they can share or they can cooperate together in order to make a very useful and nice lesson from the ESP. Yes. Yeah, it is some kinds of the example for the lesson ESP, because the student can, based on the online application, to learn better in ESP lesson. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Ngọc, for sharing very interesting and interactive tools with her student, medical student. They learn a lot about the medical terminologies. So because of the limited time, let me wrap up our presentation today. For the presentation today, we want to focus on the share some of the theories about the components of collaborative learning, and then we will want to link the 4 main tools that we present today with those components, and then by our pilot, through our pilot, we would like to give some recommendations for the teachers. First, the teacher should be very flexible and creative, because nowadays we seems to be very overwhelmed with a lot of tools, and so we need to be very flexible and very selective too. Okay, and the teachers should also take advantage of the content to design the suitable activities for their student, and using the tool and try to link them to the components of collaborative learning here. Actually, maybe you do not need to include all of the components here. Just ask yourself whether the tools just meet some of the components that is okay for you to use. And one of the advice that don't abuse tech tools, and should try the tools and then reflect on the effectiveness of the tools, and just use the ones that you and your student are most comfortable with. So I think it is those are the recommendation. So hopefully that's the end of our presentation, and hopefully we have just shared with you some of our some of the tools that we just piloted over the past months, and then maybe we would like to get the question from you, and also if you have more question, maybe just contact us through the email presented on the slide here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much for the great presentation from Dr. Zule and Duyen and Bích Ngọc. Okay, so just for the Q&A, because we just only have 1 minute for the Q&A, so I think just the question from the Brand Road DCC, do we have to pay to access this tool?
Yeah, okay, yes, this is also a hectic issues for the teachers nowadays. So I think that for the tools, they have 2 versions, the free version and the upgraded one. So I think you should take into consideration whether you can make use of it in order to make the decision whether you should upgrade your account, or if after your pilot period you find that okay, it is amazing tool, so why not? It is an investment, but it can also bring you a lot of benefits for your lessons. So why not to invest in the tools? And I myself also invest some money for to buy the tools, and I can try more easy and yeah, sometimes I can try okay, I am a cool teacher to use as tools, but remember that don't abuse the tools and just use the one that you and your student are comfortable with. Okay, so that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so from Lê Hằng, yes, one participant. Yeah, I think Paris is the most useful and cheapest. Yeah, so all right, yeah. Okay, so please, yeah, thank you so much for your presentation today. So because of the limited time, we cannot include all the question in the Q&A section. So please email the presenter directly. Yeah, so on behalf of the BICH 2021, we wish you all the best with the meaningful rest of our virtual convention.